Hello everyone!
Hello.
Here we are, Wesley's Take on the World Travel Show, episode 9. This episode is all about our trip last summer in June of 2019 out west to the national parks to see Glacier National Park, Yellowstone National Park, Grand Teton National Park, and then we went down to Salt Lake City too. So we're going to start kind of talking about that, but first, in the comments, something we'd like to know. What is your favorite national park? We're really interested in that because we have a list that we'd like to see, but we also want to know what you like because, hey, we might want to go see those too.
And
Quickly.
I just want to say, we also saw the stunning city of Jackson Hole as well.
The city of Jackson? Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to talk about that.
It was really cool.
So let's start talking about our trip. So first, planning a trip to the national parks. I did not know this until we started doing it, but you really need to start early if you're going to go travel, particularly if you want to stay in the national park lodges or if you want to stay at the campground. There, like you have a camper or tent, whatever, you have to reserve those spaces and those rooms really early. So when we start talking about lodging, we almost didn't get to stay in some of the local national park lodges because I waited too late and didn't know it. Hi, Debbie. So just know that you need to start booking early. All right? So that's our planning. Also, the flights are limited, particularly if you want to start what we did, start up at Glacier, a very small airport, and only a few carriers fly out there.
Yeah, mostly American.
We ended up having to buy tickets that we never buy. We had to buy first class tickets on American to get out there, and we had a connector in Chicago, and when we got to Chicago, we found out the flight was overbooked by one seat, so they were trying to pay somebody to not take the flight, which they eventually found. Right?
Yep.
You like that airport, right? Okay.
Also, really crowded, but there are great restaurants there.
Yeah, and we went starting in mid-June through late June, and so we'll kind of talk about that as we go on. So, we left Nashville. We ended up our first stop in Kalispell, Montana, which is Glacier National Park Airport. Hi, Tim. It was really, really awesome.
And also flights. There, Alaska Airlines flies to Glacier, so
Really?
there's I think I saw an Alaska Airlines plane.
Okay.
If you're coming from Alaska, Alaska Airlines got you covered.
All right. So, what was your favorite thing about the Kalispell Airport?
Kalispell Airport. My favorite thing was the atmosphere. It was a really nice airport.
And really small.
Yeah, really
very
small.
Very quaint. Cozy.
Yep, very cozy, very clean.
Yep.
I don't even think there's security there.
There is. There's security at all airports. Mom, what was your favorite thing about the Kalispell Airport?
Not all.
All airports like that, commercial airports.
I think my favorite thing was probably your favorite thing. My favorite thing was being on solid ground again.
Okay.
Because it
Long
was
flight.
a rather bumpy flight.
Long flight.
Getting in over the mountain.
It was fun though. Fun to look out the window during the day. So that's the airport, and then kind of we also wanted to say this is a little out of order, but we stayed in the town of Kalispell, and there's a great little restaurant there called Norm's, kind of this local diner-y and shop place that Mom has a picture of. She's going to share
On my iPad.
right there on Wesley's iPad. Norm's. It was awesome. And
what do you recommend they go get when they go to North?
Huckleberry milkshake.
Huckleberry milkshake at Norm's. By the way,
really
everywhere on this trip, go get the Huckleberry ice cream,
Yes.
Huckleberry milkshake, Huckleberry
Amazing.
everything out
Huckleberry
there.
everything.
But it is really
Even
awesome
Italian
and really
cream
good.
soda,
Kind of like a blackberry.
Even Italian cream soda Huckleberry. It is
Even
really
Italian
good.
cream soda. That's right. You're right. And so then, what, Mom, was your first impression when we kind of drove into the park? It's about 20 minutes from the airport. I know what mine was.
I was kind of just overwhelmed at just how still and quiet, even with cars going around and all, it was really kind of still and quiet.
Yeah, and you kind of drive under a train trestle when you drive into the park over on the west side, which is where we were. And then you're in there, right here. Mom has a picture. Mom has a picture. You're in there, and then you get to the national park sign, and then all of a sudden, you are in the park. Wesley, what was your first impression of the park?
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was stunning.
Okay.
My favorite park.
No, don't say that yet. That's at the end.
Okay. I can't say my favorite park?
At the end we are. So once you get into the park, really cool. It's a well done national park. They have lots of places to stop, lots of trails to hike. We actually stopped at the Ranger Lodge there with kind of the training and the gift shop, and somebody was leaving for their trip, and they gave us their bear spray, so we didn't have to buy it, which was great.
But if you're going, take bear spray.
Absolutely, 100% take bear spray, and we're going to talk about that a little later. But there we did a training, and the ranger was showing everybody how to use your bear spray. And that was really fun. So we learned how to chase off a bear with the bear spray. Not with a real bear, but with the bear spray. Right? Mom, what else do we do right there standing outside the park?
One of the things
outside the station.
Almost all the national parks have our junior ranger programs where kids can go to the ranger station and get a booklet with different activities that they complete as they go through the park, and helps them learn more about the park and engage. And then when they're finished with their activities in their booklet, they can take it back to the ranger station and they get sworn in and they get a ranger badge. So Wesley was able to collect some ranger badges.
I also did that at Stones River Battlefield.
You did. And so Stones River was your first ranger badge. This was your second junior ranger badge, right? Glacier Park. Really cool.
Jeremy and Wesley working through their workbook to get their junior ranger badge.
That was a lot of fun in my Glacier sweatshirt that I bought. So there were lots of beautiful things. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Probably the most beautiful place I've ever been. But Mom, what was your favorite thing about Glacier Park?
My favorite part about Glacier was hiking the Trail of the Cedars.
Hiking the Trail of the Cedars. Wesley, what was yours?
Mine was also hiking the Trail of the Cedars.
Hiking the Trail of the Cedars.
It was really fun. You guys should totally do it. Even if you go like long walks. It was probably 2 miles. I don't really like. It's 1 mile. I don't like mile walks, but that was amazing.
It's a very easy trail though. It's a 1 mile kind of a loop and flat. There's a boardwalk piece of it, but it's very easy for people who want to go and really can't do elevation and that sort of thing. You can just walk flat, walk all the way around the loop, and it's beautiful. And Mom's got a picture here. This is literally right on the trail. We're standing on the boardwalk. Mom snapped this picture of this waterfall. The water is super crystal clear, and there are places where the streams just run through the creeks, and you just you park your car right there on the side of the road, take 10 steps down to the water, and it is beautiful. I don't know if you have one of those. This is one of the examples, where you just walk right down from your car out of the road, and this is right there. It is a really, really beautiful, gorgeous place with all this glacial water coming down the runoff. But really, really pretty. And then the other thing, Dad's favorite thing was Trail of the Cedars, but also Dad really liked Lake McDonald Lodge. Did you like Lake McDonald Lodge? I loved Lake McDonald Lodge. Mom has pictures here. This is inside Lake McDonald Lodge. For anybody who has ever seen Boulder Ridge Villas at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, the DVC property, it is basically patterned after Lake McDonald Lodge. It may not have officially been, but it really looks like it was. It's a beautiful lobby, small, very quaint, and the restaurant here was pretty good, which we are not going to say a lot about national park restaurants. You will find out.
But can I say?
Go ahead.
So Dad ordered the cod there at Russell's Firehouse. Trout. At Russell's Firehouse. Fireside, yeah. It was really good.
Really good.
Yeah, we loved it.
And we're not fish eaters.
I'm not a fish eater, but it was really good.
I'm not even a fish eater. Even salmon I don't eat. But that was really good.
Okay. That's funny. And basically, we only had a day and a third in Glacier Park, and it was not nearly enough. Now, the main road through the park was not open to get over to the east side, so we only got to see a portion of the west side. But if you ever go, spend at least 4 days there and stay in the lodge, which we did not do, but I would have had I known about it because it was beautiful. Now,
and go more towards the end of June when you know that the Going to the Sun Road is going to be open.
Which sometimes is not open until the first part of July. So just know that. July is prime time, also more busy. There weren't a ton of people there when we were there. But really great. Anything else about Glacier Park you guys want to share before we move on? Like I said, we did not have nearly enough time in Glacier Park. All right. So from there, we left Kalispell and we drove toward Yellowstone, which is basically all the way south across Wyoming. And I'm sorry, across Montana,
5
south.
hours.
It was 6.5 hours. Just drive time, not stopping time, to get down there.
It was fun.
It was
beautiful.
fun.
The day went faster than I thought it did.
So we, from there, we stopped on our trip at the National Bison Range.
It was really fun.
Wesley really likes that, and you got to see a lot of animals there,
Yep.
didn't you?
We saw moose, we saw bison, of course we saw bison.
Elk,
Yep, elk.
lots of pronghorn out at the National Bison Range, and they're just right there beside the car. There was one point where there was a bison, like a full-grown bison, not 5 feet outside of our car. So
Pronghorns.
really,
Or
really
no,
fun.
Bald eagle.
Bald eagle.
Bald eagle.
Really, really fun, and we definitely recommend taking that drive-through. You can do it in, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
You can do the
Well,
whole thing?
There's 2 paths you can take, and we did the shorter path. There's a longer path
Yeah.
that goes up the mountain that takes a couple of hours,
Yeah.
they say, they recommend. But you can see
Yeah.
plenty of wildlife and lots of beautiful scenery in that short little 45 minute, an hour.
If you want to go out west and you have some time to drive and you want to guarantee you see wildlife, that's one place you can do it without going into the national park. It's just to go in the National Bison Range, and you can see all of these things. It's really great.
But if you have a national park passport book that you're getting stamped, you can get stamps at the bison.
That's
range
right,
as
you
well.
can. And there are very rare stamps, too,
I'm also wearing my protecting eyeglasses.
that protect your eyes. So Wesley really loved the Bison Range. And then from there, we went to the Museum of the Rockies. Now, what was at the Museum of the Rockies?
Driving through Montana, like that's worth your time, just to drive through Montana.
What did you like at the Museum of the Rockies?
I actually don't remember that.
Look, Mom's going to show you the picture.
Oh
That's
yeah,
funny.
that was really fun.
So they had all these dinosaur skeletons outside and inside the museum, like full-on T-Rex skeleton, which was really cool. At the Museum of the Rockies, that's in Bozeman, and a place that we stopped on the way. But then we finally got down to Gardner, Montana, which is right on the northern border of Yellowstone Park. So I did not know this till we got there, but Yellowstone actually, mostly in Wyoming, but it crosses over into Montana, this little strip just south of Gardner.
And Idaho on the west side, little piece
Oh yeah,
of Idaho.
that's right. But I thought that was really interesting that you can pick up Montana and Wyoming in the park. So we stayed in Gardner, Montana, which is right there. You can see the Roosevelt Arch from Gardner, Montana, really close. We stayed in a little hotel called, there's the Roosevelt Arch. We stayed in a little hotel called Park Hotel. Wesley, what did you think about Park Hotel?
It was amazing.
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was this really cute room, and it was kind of an old historic building that had been converted by someone into a hotel. It's not a chain.
And
Just
also
a-
very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Felt a little bit like an Airbnb, but it was actually a hotel. You can go on their website and book it like a hotel room.
But not big. There might be 8 or 9 rooms.
Yeah,
in
very
the whole
small.
thing.
Cookies at the top of the stairs, no elevator, right? You carry your bags up the stairs. So, but very, very fun, very well done, and very comfortable. We enjoyed that, right? And it was right outside the park entrance. And then from there, one place, if you take this trip and go to Yellowstone and you like pizza, go eat at K-Bar
Yep.
in Gardner, Montana. It is some
Cool, yes.
really awesome pizza, and you should absolutely go there and get it.
Also, if you haven't seen Long Long Honeymoon on Montana, they also recommend
Are you
K-Bar.
advertising somebody else's show?
I'm just saying that. Well, they're probably gonna want everyone to see it as well. So
That's funny. So we stayed there just overnight, ate the pizza, got some more Huckleberry ice cream
yes.
while we were there, and then the next day we got up and we started driving south into Yellowstone Park. We went through Roosevelt Arch, just like really cool, like you'd go into the park. And there were bison out that morning, right by the arch early.
Or bison?
Or elk.
Elk.
Out that morning, right by the arch. It was really cool.
We saw them while we were eating breakfast. You could see the entrance to the park and all the elk.
Yeah.
Just
And so
hanging out.
we're going to go a little bit out of order here for Yellowstone and talk kind of in buckets, starting with the lodging at Yellowstone National Park. Like I said, you need to book this very early, much earlier than I did, to really make sure you get the spaces that you want to stay. Now, we were able to stay, I had booked 2 nights at Canyon Lodge, which is over more on the east side of Yellowstone Park, near the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. And that was okay. It was fine. It was a national park lodge, which is not full of amenities. It does not have air conditioning. It has heat. Now, lucky for us,
There's not a television in the room.
there's not television in the room, but we don't really watch a lot of television anyway. But there was heat, and when we were there, it had snowed the night before, and snowed a little bit that morning when we got up. So it was a little cold. In June, it was cold, so it was okay that we didn't have air conditioning in Canyon Lodge.
But also they do have good Wi-Fi there. So
They had okay Wi-Fi there.
They had good for a 2-night stay. They had really good Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I'm saying like my iPad worked really quick on that Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm
So I
glad yours
loved
did.
it.
Mine did not do so great.
But it's clean, it's safe, it's nice, it's a comfortable bed,
And it's in the park,
and it's in the park.
so you can't really beat that.
But
You can-
there's
you
not
can sleep
any
really
extra
good.
frills.
You can sleep really good in those beds.
Now, we also that was 2 nights, and then one night we had planned to stay in a little town called West Yellowstone because I couldn't get a room in the park. But that day we just happened to be over at Old Faithful Inn, which is kind of the classic quintessential. When you think about Yellowstone hotels or lodges, this is what it is: the Old Faithful Inn. And so we stopped there. We had dinner reservation anyway, and while we were there, we got there a little early before dinner, and I said to Michelle, "Hey, I'm just gonna shot in the dark." And I went to the counter, the check-in counter, and just asked, "Hey, do you happen to have a room available for the night?" And they did. So we ended up staying at Old Faithful Inn and could not cancel our other room, so we ended up paying for 2 rooms that night. But it was fine.
Worth it.
It was worth it for the one night. Now, it had started to get a little warm, so that night with no air conditioning, a little bit warm, at least as I remember it. They did have a fan in the room, so that was helpful.
We opened the windows.
When I probably just got into the blanket or got myself out of the blanket one time a bit of the night.
Was that your favorite place?
In Yellowstone?
Your favorite hotel we stayed at?
I
In
think
Yellowstone?
so, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Inside the park. It was cool. Now, we saw some other lodging there that we can give you some information on. Right by Old Faithful is Old Faithful Inn where we stayed. There's also the Old Faithful Snow Lodge, which was not open. It's only open in the winter. And then,
At least to my evidence, it is.
and then the Old Faithful Lodge, which is newer, still does not have air conditioning, but it's kind of cool over there. And we went and got breakfast, but it was...
Has big, giant floor-to-ceiling windows that look straight out on Old Faithful.
Yeah, and let's come back and talk about that and then talk about the food. But we checked out 2 other hotels, right? We saw Lake Lodge, and we also saw the Roosevelt Cabins, which are really rustic. The cabins don't even have bathrooms. In the cabins, you have to go to the bathhouse. Yes, it's communal when you do there. So, depending on how you like things, that might not be for you, or it might.
It could be an experience.
Would it have been for us if we didn't have a bathroom?
Had to share a bathroom.
Maybe not.
Not for mom. Not for mom. Okay, so let's talk about the food for a second, because the national parks are not a food trip. The food in the parks, not great.
But
You can get sustenance.
Yeah, but if you're a foodie, you will be underwhelmed. What did you think about the food in the park?
I actually really liked it.
Are you sure?
Think about that hamburger you had at Canyon.
That was basically the only thing I did not like at all.
Yeah, so quick story. We're at, in the Canyon
M66.
Village, at one of the restaurants there, and Wesley ordered a hamburger, well done.
So
And they
that
bring
was
us
good.
food, and he wasn't eating it by the time we got there, but he wanted ice cream, and I said,
And he's eating off of our plates.
yeah, and I said, Bud, you ordered this hamburger and you're not eating it. And he said, but Dad, it's not well done. And I said, I looked at it, and it was cooked through.
broke it apart.
And I said, Wesley, this is cooked, it's well done. And he said, no, it's not well done. I said, yes, it is, it's cooked all the way through. He said, I know it's cooked, Dad, but it's not well done. Like, it had not been done well. So I tasted it and agreed with him and told him he did not have to eat it because it was not good.
Yeah. So I just finished my whole plate of waffle fries.
But we did get the ice cream there. The more Huckleberry ice cream. It was very good.
Yeah.
They do ice cream well.
Mm-hmm.
They do ice cream well.
Like we had ice cream multiple times throughout this trip. And
But
they
their
do ice cream well.
But their breakfast that I had was just pretzels and hummus. I was starving
You
by
did eat pretzels and hummus for breakfast.
Yeah, I was starving by the time, but it was really good from that night.
Yep.
From that night, I ate that. I was think it was either coffee or hot apple cider. I had really warmed me up when I was free.
I think it was
This is hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
So we've told you before that Wesley gets free things.
Yes.
When we go places, and one of the free things that he got on this trip was a free hot chocolate when we stopped to get breakfast at Canyon because he has nice manners, and so the lady just fixed him a hot chocolate and said, "I just appreciate a child with nice manners." So here you go.
It was really awesome.
Made us proud.
So now let's.
But it was really good. So they also do hot chocolate well. So if you're not, but if you're so if you're wanting something warm to drink,
The hot
ask
chocolate's good.
for hot chocolate.
Yeah.
And also tip.
Tip?
Yeah. If you want to get some, if you're a kid and you order breakfast and you want to get something free, just use your manners. They're probably going to give you something free at that lodge if you use your manners.
We're all about free stuff.
We're also about using manners, whether you get free stuff or not.
Correct.
Yeah. Just that's just going to make you more likely at that place that we went.
So the process of Yellowstone now, let's talk about that for a second. So Yellowstone has entrance on all four sides, north, south, east, and west. You can get into Yellowstone Park. There's a main road that comes in from all four directions, and then it's essentially a figure 8 inside, a big loop with a center cross running east to west. And so that's how you navigate the park, and most things, at least the touristy things, are right there off of one of those loops. And now Mom found this, and we bought it, and it was a great
Uncle
idea.
Brian found it.
Oh, Uncle Brian found it and told us about it. And it was a great idea. It wasn't, what was it, $10? So, and it is.
It's called the Gypsy Guide, and it's GPS with Y's, GYPSY. And it's an app that you can download that uses the GPS in your phone, whether you've got Wi-Fi service or not, or cell service. It tells you where you are in the park and has all kinds of fun information about where you are in the park. And he'll tell you, hey, this is really worth stopping, go do this, or and this is, if you have time, go see this. If you are in a rush, you can pass this one by. It's a really great resource.
Yeah.
And the one we bought covered Yellowstone and Grand Tetons.
It was like $10, well worth the money, and they do those guides for lots of national parks, so you can get them for other places as well. The next one we visit, if they have it, we will 100% do that because it was really good and really helpful.
We loved it.
So let's talk about...
There's just one thing I didn't like about it.
Which is what?
It was so loud when I was trying to sleep.
Well, we could turn it down.
Yeah, but I could still sleep. I just got woken up whenever that thing started talking.
Yeah.
You're funny.
And it has notes on it that you can read. Like if you're a reader and would rather look ahead and see things, you can do it that way. Now, let's talk about the attractions in Yellowstone. Who wants to go first? What was your favorite attraction in Yellowstone?
I would probably say the waterfalls.
The waterfalls. Okay.
I did like the waterfalls.
There are lots of them in Yellowstone.
Lots of waterfalls in Yellowstone. Virginia Falls,
Tower.
Gibbon Falls, tons, and Tower Falls, tons of things. The main one that people know about is Artist Point. There at the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, right? And so this is where they went, when they were trying to sell the idea of Yellowstone National Park and preserving it, this was what was drawn, was Artist Point. And that's why it's called Artist Point. And so it's really beautiful. It's, about a half a mile walk from where you park?
If that.
To go see it. Well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, not hard.
And it's over near Canyon Lodge, so if you're just over on the east side of the park. So you can
And
do
the park
that.
is really well maintained. If it's not paved, it's still a really firm, solid, easily walkable path to get to places.
That's right. And then, of course, there's Old Faithful, which is the most well-known feature in Yellowstone, I think. It was cool. It was a cool geyser. There are lots of geysers in Yellowstone. I hear there are a lot of really fun ones that we did not get to see all of them. But this is Old Faithful. We have a video somewhere of it erupting too. But
I'm deconnected to Wi-Fi. He's
That's
probably
okay.
reconnected.
But if you've never seen Old Faithful do its thing, it's
Did you like Old
absolutely worth
Faithful?
Yes.
seeing it.
Okay.
You didn't think you were going to. You thought it was going to scare you, didn't
That's
you?
right, he did.
You didn't want to get close at first, did you?
Mm-hmm.
And then he went and sat
Right on the edge of the boardwalk. And so then there is Grand Prismatic Spring.
I could not walk that high.
So,
which,
Mom and
for
Wesley.
For two reasons.
What?
I was so scared. I was scared to death. Other reason, I did not like walking high.
You did not like walking high? It was a bit of a hike.
And the third reason, I was a little bit tired.
But Dad went on up to the higher point where you could see
Yeah.
above all the trees.
Yeah.
And it was stunning. Like, you should 100% go see that too.
Unless you're afraid of heights like I am.
So then we also did Norris Geyser Basin. Mom really liked the geothermal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the more emeraldy colored, Mom has a picture here.
They make me sick.
One of the more emeraldy colored water flows there from the minerals.
Also, they make me sick.
They do smell like they'll make you sick, don't they?
If you are bothered by really strong smells, this may not be the thing for you.
Or gross smells. Which is what made me sick.
Now also, really, go ahead.
Some more.
Some
Norris
more of
Geyser
the-
Basin.
Geyser Basin. Now also over on the east side of the park is Lamar Valley, which is known as the Serengeti of North America, right? North American Serengeti. This is where you want to go to see all the animals. Like, if you want to make sure you see animals in Yellowstone, go over there. There will be herds of everything
That's a bison herd.
to see. We saw lots of bears in Yellowstone too, some right on the side of the road. It was really fun. You have to be careful. We're going to have a bear story a little later when we get to a different part. But this is us.
There were some really nice ladies set up. When you are driving through Yellowstone, you'll see clumps of cars pulled off to the side of the road. You know they're probably looking at an animal. And so you kind of quietly get out and join the group and have somebody point out what they're looking at. But there were these group of ladies with scopes on the side of the road. And they had found a grizzly way up on the mountain, a grizzly mama and her cubs. And so they were, and very kind, let people stop and look through their scopes. And they even had one set up low so that kids could look through. And that's how we got to see a grizzly.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then we also did a chuck wagon dinner in Yellowstone where they put you in the chuck wagon and they take you out in one of the valleys and feed you. Steak, what was it? Steak, beans. There was a dessert, some vegetables.
It was like apple crumble, I think.
There was apple crumble.
Got
Apple
green
crumble.
beans and
Definitely get the
Beans.
apple crumble. Okay. Can I say
Our cowboy host looked like a friend of ours.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I already said it. So, get the beans. Even if you're not a big bean fan, you will love them. So get them. Get the beans. Get the apple crumble as well. It smells and tastes like Christmas. The apple crumble does. The beans are also really good.
It does. And we saw right after we got back on the chuck wagon to go back in, what happened? Remember the bear came walking through right where we had been eating, and we could see him right there. It was a lot of fun. So that's a lot to fun.
they also did cowboy coffee around the fireside, and they sing and tell
Did I
stories
have
and
some?
all that. Do you remember having cowboy coffee? We let you have a taste.
Very strong.
Very, very strong. with
Still had the grounds in it.
But they bring out the guitars and everybody sits around the campfire. It's a lot of fun.
That's right. And then Wesley, the last thing in Yellowstone, what was your favorite thing we did in Yellowstone? What did you tell me it was?
I said it was. I think I said it was.
You said it was this.
I can't read that. Fishing.
Wesley caught his first fish in Yellowstone National Park.
It's Lake Yellowstone.
At Lake Yellowstone and little outlets, and friends of ours had been there before us and told us about this place. And so we went to the exact same place they had been like 2 weeks earlier and caught a little fish there where they caught a fish. Wesley's first fish, trout, cutthroat trout. You cannot fish with a barbed hook. It has to be unbarbed. And you have to use a fly rod. You cannot use like a Zebco style rod. All right.
We saw lots of cool wildlife. We saw coyotes and caribou or elk. That was our coyote that we saw. We didn't see a wolf, and there was one other that we didn't see.
I don't know.
Can't remember. We saw lots of.
So, before we move on toward Grand Teton, real quick, tell us in the comments what is your favorite national park, because we're building a list and we will look it up if we have not been there, because we would really like to know where else we should go. Now, driving south out of out of Yellowstone, that's how we left, and we went towards Grand Teton and Jackson, Wyoming. Now, we went through the Rockefeller Forest on the Rockefeller Highway, and we stopped at a little place there called the Headwaters Lodge and Cabins at Flag Ranch and had lunch. Now, we have said that this is not a food trip. That actually was decent food for a national park lodge type or a national forest location. That food was decent there. So if you're making that trip, you should definitely do that. Now, so heading south from Yellowstone, we went to Grand Teton National Park in Jackson, Wyoming. Fun fact, we learned what? What did we learn about the town? The town is called
Jackson, Wyoming.
And Jackson Hole is not a town. Jackson Hole is what? It's an area.
It's an area, yeah.
Where essentially there's a hole in the mountain, and what Jackson, Wyoming is, the side of Grand Teton, there's the elk refuge there. That is all in Jackson Hole, which is a geological feature, not a town. We learned that. Lots of fun information there. Now, what else? What do you want to talk about there?
Tetons?
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Okay, there you go.
It's amazing. One of the first places that we stopped was Jackson Lake Lodge, which is one of the lodges that you can stay at. We're not able to do that, but again, they have massive floor-to-ceiling windows so that you can look out and see the range, take your cup of coffee, and see the mountains. And it's really, really incredible. Lots of wildlife there as well. Mm-hmm. What else did we did Jenny Lake. Mm-hmm. So Jenny Lake is a really beautiful lake. There's several lakes through Grand Tetons. And they have a boat where you can take the boat just out across the lake and back, or you can hike halfway around the lake and then take the boat back, or however you want to do that. So we did kind of both. We took the boat just kind of out to sea, and then the next day we thought, we'll just hike around the lake. We'd read about it in the guide that it's just
very easy,
a nice little stroll around the lake, no big deal. We'll do that and come back and ride the boat back and all that.
Dad took a wrong turn on the trail.
1,200 feet of elevation climb.
It was
With
fun
a
though.
7-year-old.
It was fun though.
It was scary, actually.
Wesley thought it was scary.
There were parts that were a little intimidating. Let's say
So
that.
we get to the bottom, and we get back to the boat ramp finally on the other side after the detour. We'd seen tons of really beautiful scenery and got to kind of look out over the lake from a higher elevation. The views were worth it. But, so we get down to the boat dock and we're waiting for the next boat, and we get a visitor. So speaking of bear spray, this juvenile teenage bear comes walking out on the dock with us. So Wesley does what he has been instructed to do and gets behind me. I have the bear spray ready, but then the folks who worked the dock came down and took care of the bear and kind of chased him off. He didn't have to get sprayed with the wild pepper spray. But it was really interesting and kind of a fun experience, honestly. So we get back on the boat and come back across.
Yep.
After that,
You really liked the boat, didn't you?
mm-hmm. The
It
mountains.
was a speedboat.
The mountains are really beautiful. The Tetons are beautiful. Like you can't explain them and do them justice. This is on the boat coming back across, and then there's one spot. Do you remember where we went and saw that little church? There's a spot with this tiny little church that still has services on Sunday, but you can't. Well, I don't know if they have them in person right now, but typically they have Sunday services. I think it's an Episcopal church, and right behind the altar, there, right behind where someone would speak, is Grand Teton, just right out the window.
Just a big, huge picture
Right there,
window.
and that's what they look at during service, which is really, really cool. So, Wesley, what was your favorite thing? Go ahead. What was your favorite thing about being in Jackson and near Grand Teton?
Jackson drugs.
Jackson Drugs was your favorite thing? Mm-hmm. Okay, Jackson. And what did you get at Jackson Drug?
So I think I got the same thing I got there.
I think you did too.
I got a hamburger, but they didn't ask me. It was like a regular.
It was
hamburger.
good.
It was way better.
And ice cream.
And waffle fries and ice cream.
More Huckleberry.
Yes. Also, I think I got a root beer as well.
Remember the other thing we did?
Float trip.
Didn't you like that?
Oh yeah. That was probably the second funnest thing.
So float trip on the Snake River, which was really fun and really awesome.
He
It was
even
about
And
2
really
hours.
easy, no rapids.
except 1 and 2 level rapids.
Yeah.
Nothing that's going to throw anybody out of the boat or get you soaked.
No,
or
it was
anything
very
like that.
calm. Well, calm and very fun. And there was this really cool hissing sound that the stones make under the water that I didn't know, but I could hear it. And he pointed it out to us.
And again, we saw lots of wildlife.
And also, he let me come and try.
Bald
And
eagle.
he also let me come and row the boat if I wanted.
He did let you drive the boat for a little while.
But I couldn't actually get up onto the seat, so that was my only problem.
So it was a lot of fun. That was one of the more fun things we did there as an activity. And then in the town of Jackson, we stayed at the Hampton Inn there, which was actually a really nice little cool hotel. Really
Where
well
Wesley
done.
got more free stuff.
Where Wesley got more free stuff. But it was really fun. Now they have, if you've not seen the pictures, I'm sure you have, but Jackson has these kind of cool antler arches.
The person who
which
gave
are
me
really
free
fun.
stuff we were checking in, she said if we wrote a comment card, then she would let us pick something out.
She probably doesn't appreciate us riding around like that.
What?
So then on our last day in Jackson, we stopped and ate at a place inside the park. Speaking of, no, not that place yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of, and then this is the view from where we stopped. Dad, I am pretty sure, got food poisoning while we were there.
He did.
And so the next day, when we were leaving Jackson, Mom had to drive us all the way to Salt Lake because Dad thought
We kind
he
of
was...
had to skip a lot of what we were going to do.
Yeah, Dad thought he was dying in the car on the whole trip. It was really, really terrible. I did not eat for a whole day.
Yeah. But
That's
well,
great tea time.
we also got me and Mom got room service. I ordered a hot dog. It tasted with fruit. It tasted really good. I thought my hot dog tasted so good, so I asked Dad if he wanted to taste, and
He did not.
yeah.
I did not.
But I asked him. Also, I got sick on our Southwest flight back.
And then Mom
Yeah.
got the next morning. We drove through Idaho. Mom and Wesley.
He was asleep. He missed Idaho.
Yeah. Mom and Wesley stopped and got some pastries that morning in Jackson on the way out. That was.
It was a great
They
little
said the
place
coffee was good.
called Persephone Bakery. Delicious.
I didn't get to go because again I thought I was dying
I got a cinnamon roll.
Delicious.
at that moment. So
But
then
I did think you tasted our cinnamon bread.
I did not eat a single thing.
I had some really tasty cinnamon bread there.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Yeah, I bet so.
And it's really hard to bite into on the outside, but it's worth it. It's worth the toughness.
Okay, and so from there, Mom drove us to Salt Lake City, and we were going to leave out of Salt Lake City, but we spent 2 nights there. Actually,
I think it was 4.
it was 2. So we had 1 full day in Salt Lake City. Now, here's what I will say about Salt Lake City. Do not bother to go see the Great Salt Lake. It is gross, covered in dirty flies. It is terrible. Do not waste your time going to do it.
Here.
Everything
You've seen the Great Salt Lake. Ta-da! You're done.
everything is dead. So-
but
Except for 9,000 flies.
Except for 9,000 flies.
Yes.
It was not worth it.
if you don't listen to us and go, when you go out, you deserve to treat yourself. I literally got a snow cone there. It was really good.
You got a snow cone there?
Yeah.
That's right, you did.
It's
It's a
really
state
good.
park.
It's really good. So if you want a snow cone, then go to the state. If you want a good snow
Yeah.
cone, go to the Great Salt Lake. It's at the parking area. You don't have to walk anywhere near that river. Go get a snow cone. Go back.
I bet you can get a snow cone somewhere else.
I know, but there are really good snow cones there.
Okay.
So
Now the
so-
city though, Salt Lake City, what did you think about that?
It was really good. I loved it.
Salt Lake City was beautiful. It was clean. It was easy to
Beautiful.
navigate.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Our
It was a really
DoubleTree
nice
looked
city.
like a castle.
That's
not
not a
a-
castle.
That's a cathedral.
We went
Tabernacle.
through to Temple Square in downtown Salt Lake, which kind of dominates Salt Lake City, and got to see the Tabernacle, and got to go here. We didn't get to see it here concert, but we got to hear organ practice
Yep.
in the Mormon Tabernacle. So that
They
was
were.
pretty amazing. And we found a Disney store.
So we stopped. Just
Hooray!
Because us.
Hooray. So that was there. And then the other thing we did in Salt Lake that Wesley would not do with me, we went up to we all went to Park City, which is where they did the Olympics in 2002. And it was a really fun place and a really well done thing. But there, they do a lot of things. But one of the things that you can do is ride the bobsled, like the actual bobsled track and a 4-man bobsled. And they will, you don't have to jump in at the back. They'll push you, they'll get it going, but you ride with, you and 3 other people, and you go down the track. My team posted the fastest time of the day. They would not ride with me. I had to do it by myself with strangers who knew each other, by the way. They all knew each other. I was the lone stranger on the bobsled, but it was fun.
But did you meet anyone? Probably.
I'm not very social. But it was super
Well,
fast.
since you were alone, you probably
And
made
we
at least
posted
one friend.
we posted the fastest time of the day. So that was fun. But what
Yeah.
are the other things they do at the park? Why don't you tell us? What was your favorite thing they did at that park?
It was the swimming jumps. It was really cool.
The ski jumps?
Yeah.
Into the
Ski
pool.
jumps. Yeah, into the pool.
It's Olympic ski jumpers are practicing
Was very confused.
their tricks and such.
That's right.
Off
was
the
also
jumps,
very-
off the runs.
I was also very confused. I was also very surprised that they could do it off the triple.
So ski jumps, that's right.
But they land, because there's no snow in June, they land in a pool.
That's right. So that was a lot of fun, Salt Lake. And then from there, we spent one more night and flew home.
On Southwest
So-
Airlines, where I basically got sick again.
I don't think that's right.
Well, I didn't feel good on that flight.
Okay. So
I didn't
I
feel
think you were
great.
just sad about having to go home.
why?
I didn't feel
think that's
great.
right.
Like,
So-
it wasn't that.
Wesley, why?
See, my stomach was
Okay.
was hurt.
Okay.
It really hurt.
Why don't you ask Mom what her favorite thing we did? Her favorite
What was
park
your
we
favorite
visited.
park that we visited?
My favorite park, I loved them all. They were all amazing and unique and beautiful in their own ways. My favorite was Grand Tetons, and I picked that one because it's just everywhere. You can't go anywhere in that park without amazing vistas. And parts, Yellowstone and Glacier are bigger parks, and so there are places where you don't just look and see the amazing, stunning, beautiful. But Grand Teton, you go anywhere, you see it.
Okay. Wesley, that's a good reason. I hadn't thought about that. That's really good. Wesley, what was your favorite park we visited?
Glacier National Park.
And why was Glacier your favorite park we visited?
2 reasons. One, we didn't have to drive far at all, which I'm really not a big fan of the car sometimes.
Mm-hmm. What else?
But especially rental cars. It was our hotel. You stayed at, you could get some really good views. And for me, and also in Glacier, you've got there's like mountains, which I love,
Yeah? What are mountains at Teton?
with snow on top.
Mountains with snow on top. That's also at Teton and at Yellowstone.
Not many at Teton. There's the most is at Glacier.
The most are at Glacier. Okay. So Dad's favorite park was also Glacier. As you can see from my shirt, Glacier National Park.
And you can see from my shirt, Glacier National
That's
Park.
right. But that was my favorite. It is stunning. The most beautiful place I have ever visited in my life. So maybe I'll see somewhere more beautiful than that at some point, but I haven't yet. It is gorgeous, and I would recommend anybody to go visit. Because even if you can't hike, it is worth it just to go and see and drive. You can just step right out of your car and see like some of those beautiful things.
One of the things they offer that we didn't do because going to the Sun Road wasn't open yet, but they're called Red Bus Tours, and they're old antique buses that they've restored, and they will drive them all over the park and do different tours, so that you can see the park without having to hike a step.
That's right. So tell us your favorite? That was our whole trip. Totally would recommend anybody to go do it. It is kind of a trip of a lifetime thing, worth saving the money to do it right, in my opinion, and definitely
Jerry's
worth doing.
present for his birthday.
Yes, it was for my birthday. So not on my birthday, but for my birthday. So definitely go do it. Tell us in the comments what your favorite national park is. We are really, really interested in that. So that's everything, right? Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we also spent like 11 days there.
We were gone for about 11 days.
I think that's right. It was a long time. Maybe just a hair too many days to be gone.
Not for me.
Not for him. But not too many days to get all that in. Frankly, we could have used more days.
I don't start to miss home until like 20 days.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that. All right, are we good? Mm-hmm. Ready? Tell everybody goodbye.
Bye.
See you real soon.
See you real soon.
Bye, guys.